I know what you're thinking. These ulez updates are getting to be, well, ironically enough, a little bit like buses. You don't get anything for a while and then all of a sudden they all come together. Well, there's quite a bit going on, and I've done a few, like you say, recent updates, but suddenly there was this news that was out yesterday, in fact, and it was, well, basically it's confirmed that ulez is all about being a revenue generator and actually nothing about making the air safer for people to breathe.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
Right, so what am I talking about? Well, news out yesterday in, from the BBC, in fact, that with the headline, ulez, charges and fines raise a 9-figure sum in 2022. So this is a confirmation that really this is about the money. The ultra-low emission zone in, well, central London and inner London, where it is at the moment, so that's up to the north and south circulars, raised £224 million last year. So that was in 2022. This is the data that BBC has obtained, and what they found is that basically a third of that money actually came from PCNs. What are PCNs? Penalty charge notices. So basically they're fines. So 30% of that, 33% if you like, came from fines. And this is the clever thing about ulez, is that the ambiguity of where it is and how it operates and the confusion. For example, I was just coming down the M4A4, and the M4, the bridge that goes over the North Circular, or South Circular actually, at that point you come off that bridge to go into South Circular, but there's no sign on that bridge that says that if you carry on going you're going to be in ulez. I actually haven't been down there, so I don't know like how far down there you end up in ulez, but there's no notification. So because that would be like a good opportunity to get off that, to go into the South Circular or North, or head towards the North Circular if you didn't want to pay it. But you know, so you can see how easily people would get caught out by it, and it's kind of almost designed like that, isn't it? Especially when you realize how much money that generates. And of course the interesting thing about the fine is that any vehicle driven within the zone must meet the ulez emission standards. If you don't, you pay a £12.50 daily charge. That's what you would normally pay. Drivers who fail to pay that, they get a PCN, and the PCN is £180, although it drops to £90 if you pay within 2 weeks. So basically £90, unless you're away, which has happened to people that I know, and then it just escalates actually. So basically, Transport for London says that the money that they make from ulez covers the setup costs of the ulez expansion and the running and improving of the rest of the network. Through data obtained via Freedom of Information request, BBC has found that ulez generated 224,633 £224,633,003, and that's an average of £18.7 million per month. That's how much they make off this thing. 151.3 million was generated through daily charges, and 73.3 million was made from PCNs. So that was through fines. As we know, ulez was launched in 2019, but then they expanded it in 2021. And this is the thing, TfL's Director of Strategy told BBC that the initial revenue from ulez will cover setup costs. What are setup costs? These setup costs are estimated to be in the region of 130 to 140 million pounds, says the TfL, and they're basically for signage, detection and enforcement infrastructure, cameras, marketing, all the damn ads that we've been hearing. And I'm just going to come back to that ad at the end of this. There's one change I've noticed to the ad on the radio the other day that particularly annoyed me, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Risk and project overheads. And the BBC found that the installation of the automatic number plate recognition cameras, the ANPR cameras, the big ones with the 2 eyes that you see that are popping up everywhere, that will be in the range of 45 to 50 million pounds, although the TfL declined to disclose the cost of the cameras and the other infrastructural expenditure, deeming this to be commercially sensitive information. Read into that. You could read a lot into that. Commercially sensitive information. Deals have been done, contracts have been signed, tenders have not been submitted maybe, I don't know. you know. So ulez could generate up to £200 million a year, the London-wide one, the extended one, for the first 2 years, despite the fact that the existing and smaller area produced 224 million. So this is what TfL is saying, which, if you think about what they're saying, 200 million for the expanded region versus 224 for the existing, considering the fact that it is 18 times bigger. Yeah, the area is 18 times bigger. Shocking, isn't it? And they're saying that, so they're basically lying, you know, because they're expecting to make a lot more money from that. Monthly income, probably interesting. Following the previous expansion, monthly income skyrocketed. But this is interesting because you see that actually in October 21, it absolutely skyrocketed. It went up like crazy, but within like a month or two it started to come down, and then it's just steadily declined ever since. It says December 2021 proved to be the most lucrative month for ulez, with close to 28 million made from that revenue. But since then, income has steadily declined, and TfL attributes this to people making the transition to low emission vehicles. Yeah, possibly. It could also be because people get stung by a fine and then realize that they can't do that anymore, you know, because the first time you get fined, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just not going to use the car, I'm not going to go in that direction. This is the whole scenario where people are saying that London's going to lose business because the first time people get fined, they go, well, I'm never going to London again. That's how most people react. They don't react by going, oh, I must go out and buy a new car, you know? Yeah, because I got fined. Yeah, I don't think so. Now, the final thing that this sentence, the final sentence in this report is quite interesting. Furthermore, TfL estimates that ulez will stop generating the surplus income by 2026-2027. Surplus means like exceeding whatever their regular running costs are, and that's literally like within 2 to 3 years of them introducing it. And again, you start to beg that question, is like, why is it even worth doing if that really is the case? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, what these numbers clearly and comprehensively show is that, is it about really saving lives? Those alleged, you know, extrapolated, calculated, estimated 4,000 lives that are claimed it's going to save. Is it really about that, or is it about 230 or 225 million pounds that you make every year out of this? In addition, the other thing I was going to talk about is you've probably all seen and heard the ulez adverts, you know, all the marketing stuff that's out at the moment, obviously advising people in these areas to be ready for ulez, and they always praise that with like, oh, why are we doing it? Because it's, you know, helping people. And they always go, oh, I see we've got toxic hair, toxic hair, I don't know, maybe you have toxic hair, I don't know. No, I know what you've been putting into it, but anyway, toxic air situation. And you know, they've been laboring on that point, and you go, whatever, you go, okay, well, you know, you can kind of equate exhaust fumes to air, you can go, okay. But have you heard the latest one? I really got my goat. They were like, oh, and heart disease has now been linked apparently to pollution from cars. Oh my God, heart disease. Right? So heart disease has got nothing to do with exercise and cholesterol and smoking. But cars, it's to do with cars now? Cars are responsible for everything? Oh my God, this is utterly, utterly ridiculous. And it's just getting more and more. I mean, you just like run out of words after a while. It's like, what else goes? It's literally like, and they have, you know what? The funny thing about this is they have a doctor that comes on, oh, allegedly a doctor or somebody who comes in, gives his name, says who he is, and then he says this. He says, oh, this is what we found. And it's like, oh, really? Really? You found a... I mean, I just, you know, literally, you can see I am now losing words here because I just don't know where to go with this anymore, because literally, like, it seems the car is being blamed for every evil in existence. And it's like, you know, if you look at the one that I posted yesterday about the asthma, and I go, look, the kind of, what I was trying to get at in that video was that, you know, maybe they should be looking at the real causes of this. We know, for example, you know, how much stuff is going into our foods now. There was a guy on the news the other day who was talking about the fact that virtually all the food that we consume in the Western world is processed food, and virtually all of that has stuff in it that's not necessarily good for us. We also know that we have been there's been contaminants in packaging and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff has affected us. Sorry, there was an edit there because the camera overheated. So anyway, I think I have spoken enough. You get my point, you get what I'm talking about. Would love to hear your comments, and I'll see you very soon, I'm sure, in the next ulez update. And don't forget, big protest, Marble Arch, Central London, from 12 PM on the 25th of June. See you there.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these 3 little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.